Welcome back to the Men and Prophets podcast. Today we have special special guest Ben.ddavid. Never been on here before.
Ever. Once in my life.
Nope. And special guest blakesharkeyy. I've also never been on here before.
Who has, though, is Katie right here.
Yep. You can barely see her. Oh, now you can see her.
You can see her little head. Yep.
She does not have a little head, okay? She's a big girl.
No.
Yeah, just like Ben.ddavid. Ben.ddavid's big guy.
Apparently I'm a big girl.
Oh, wait, no. Anyways.
This week's episode is on healing the father wound. Last week we went over the father wound, what it means. We can do a little bit of review on that. So we'll start with we are all in the process of understanding why we are and the way we are. Each of us, to some degree, is a product of the past, and each of us, in some ways, are controlled by the past until we consciously and willfully choose to break that control.
Yeah.
Our current working definition of the father wound is an ongoing emotional, social, or spiritual deficit ordinarily met in a healthy relationship with dad that must now be overcome by different means.
There are 3 possible responses to the father wound that we explained in the last episode, and they are anger and pain, bottled up feelings, and listened and incompetence.
That was supposed to be something else.
Listened?
No, it's supposed to be something else. I forget what it was.
Oh.
Yeah. So we went over all that on the previous episode. Go check that out if you haven't already. It'll give you a lot of needed information for this episode. Our main thing that we're going to kind of go over is 8 kind of like proactive remedies that we can use for the absent father wound. This is going to be, I think there's like 4 that are for like you as a father, and then there are 4 that are for like a kid or a son dealing with that wound. So yeah, we'll go over the first one here. If you're a dad, make sure your son has the essentials. Want to read those?
Yeah. The essentials are making sure that your son hears your blessing, which is I love you, which is affection. I'm proud of you, which is admiration, and you're good, which is affirmation. Why is it important that he hears these things?
Well, I mean, like we said last week, what you speak over your children is what they live up to. You have a lot of power in what you talk about, what you speak over your children, what you say about them, not only in front of them, but not in front of them. It affects them greatly. What they hear about themselves through you is...
Yeah. Not many people can give a compliment if they haven't received one in the first place.
Yeah.
Or given love or given admiration.
Yeah. Yeah, and also as a parent, you're kind of like their foundation. It's like I also said in the past episode, they're not in a deep enough, meaningful enough relationship with Jesus to understand that he's their foundation and that they can always rely on him. So you're their foundation then. So you really need to make sure that you're feeding them good stuff.
Yeah.
And we also need to make sure that he has a manhood vision. So your child has a vision of manhood. And then we need to make sure that he has a code of conduct that you live by and have passed on to him. And how can we implement these last 2 into teaching a kid?
How do we implement these 2? I would just say consistency for a father.
Yeah.
Just consistently doing good things and showing your kid what it means to be a man, because doing it once or twice isn't going to, put it in their head if you don't do it the rest of the times. They're just going to follow routine. So it's easy to fall into things that aren't right.
Both of these things, like was saying, consist of the child seeing what you do. So a vision of manhood is not something that you just express to your kid. You can't say, "Oh, you got to be a man. You got to do this, that, and the other," and then go physically or verbally abuse your wife or something.
Yeah,
like that,
right.
Because that doesn't make sense.
Women are beautiful. Come over here.
Yeah, just doesn't work like that. So both of these are things that he needs to see in you, a code of conduct, with just like respect in general, with just anyone and people, relationships, women, all that. So yeah. And you want to go over number 2?
Yeah. Number 2 is it's never too late to close the gap with your son, no matter how old.
Yeah. So a lot of times, we've gone over like the whole how we think that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's just something that's completely wrong. This
Yeah.
kind of covers like the same thing, but it is never too late to go back and remedy a relationship or repair that or try at least attempt to fix it.
Yeah. I don't know where I've heard it, but I've heard that and like adults are pretty much just children with more experience,
Yeah.
which I mean is pretty accurate, but it doesn't mean that. I mean, it means that at any time people could get, whipped back into shape and shown in the right direction at least. I mean, it's like the same for accepting Christ.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just. I mean, there's more than just accepting Christ at a young age, and if you're like born into a family as Christian and everything, but as you get older, yes, it's probably going to be harder to get into it, but there's always like that possibility because I think God is powerful. So
Yeah.
it's
This
yeah.
kind of relates to like the wayward son story in the Bible, except it's flipped. It's not the son that like comes back; it's the father. Is how I kind of imagine it. Yeah, never give up on that. Number 3, if you're a single dad or separated from your sons by divorce, or who has inherited sons through marriage, our best advice to you would be to seek help and a sound strategy. Talk to someone close to you. Uh, Better than that, get someone professional that can help you with that.
Yeah, because
Um,
most likely in those cases when you're separated from your son, it's most likely, I mean, from something that the dad did,
yeah,
or is like, or the dad's not like financially stable enough to take care of the kids, whatever.
or it could just be a
But
divorce, or like
yeah,
yeah,
if you're, I mean, are you saying like separated as in the dad can't see him?
yeah. It says if you're a single dad or separated from your sons by divorce, or who has inherited sons through marriage.
Oh,
So I think this is talking about more of
oh,
like
just more like everything except for the basic, like relationship, have a kid, stay together.
kind of yeah,
So everything like
yeah. I mean that's all that we
around
can really
that.
seek professional help and talk to a pastor or something like that.
Yeah.
It gets a little too specific for us to go over kind of every situation.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if we did, we don't have, obviously we don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Uh,
A lot of people in that situation can't. Well, like they can. I mean, I don't know.
you want to go over number 4?
Yeah, I'll go over number 4. If you're a son who has been wounded by dad, choose to touch his wound responsibly.
This one.
Choose to touch this wound responsibly.
Yeah.
Which is Hebrews 12:9-10.
I'll go
Wait.
over that really quick.
Oh,
There's
a verse that connects to it.
yes.
If you're a son who has been wounded by dad, choose to touch his wound responsibly.
This wound, not his wound.
Did I say the same thing again?
Yes.
I said this.
You
Did I not?
I'm pretty sure you said
Choose
his.
to touch this wound responsibly.
There you go. Or maybe I'm stupid.
Yeah, maybe you are.
Hebrews 12:9-10.
Oh, yeah.
Moreover, we all have had human fathers who disciplined us, and we respected them for it. How much more should we submit to the Father of spirits and live? They disciplined us for a little while as they thought best, but God disciplines us for good, in order that we may share in His holiness. Yeah. So if you're the kid and something has happened between you and your dad and you suffer from it, we have to you have to like choose to like I mean basically just do something about it responsibly.
Yeah.
There's 2 things you can kind of do that we see is you can either choose to forgive your dad, and you can also choose to believe in God's justice in that sense. as you visit back at that and talk to your dad and figure it out. So how do we see Jesus kind of represented in both of these two things that we gave you? Forgiving your dad and believing in God's justice.
I mean, Jesus' sacrifice was shown to forgive, especially the ones that are like mistreated, and the ones that, you know, to like forgive if you've like mistreated the people like above you, like your respectfuls, like your elders or whatever. Sorry.
Yeah, what I go to is like when Jesus was on the cross and he said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they're doing." For the forgiveness part, if Jesus can forgive the people, the very people who are literally like killing him and making fun of him and giving him the most unjust, like shameful death, then I think it's possible to forgive your dad. It might be really hard, but it is something that is possible. And choosing to believe in God's justice. Jesus had to believe that when he was up on the cross, and all the people who did terrible things to him, he had to believe in God's justice, and he had to put aside his anger. Like when he was being arrested, and how one of his followers like took a sword and chopped off one of the guy's ears.
Yeah.
In that moment, Jesus didn't fight back, even though he could have. He had to believe in God's justice. So yeah, you want to go over number 5?
Yeah. Number 5, if you're a son wounded by dad, courageously seek reconciliation with your father. Reconciliation with your father. Yeah. The breach may be from your dad's relationship shortcomings. Don't let that stop you. And the breach may be from past conflict, and you need to clean it up.
Yeah.
Why can this be hard to do?
So before we go over that question, we can just see in this that I mean, yeah, like your dad may have hurt you because he was hurt by his dad, or he was hurt by another relationship.
Yeah.
And that's happened with a lot of people. There's always the really cliche hurt people. But it's true. Oftentimes when you are hurt, you either take it two ways, like I want to be better than this, or it's just like your kind of new way of life is doing exactly what they did to you.
Yeah, just like, I mean, most of the time when you're a bully has like a rough time at home.
Yeah.
Like almost all of the time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they can't take it out on their parents, so they go and take it out on someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, make sure to, yeah, I mean,
I would say it would be hard to do because it's hard to tell someone who's like above you and has a lot more experience telling him what's right from wrong.
yeah,
Because you don't have as enough experience in life, so you don't know what you're talking about, and so sometimes people won't listen to people like that. It's like if you're a I don't know, if you're a I watched a Darman skit one time, but it's like if you're a sous chef in like a high-end restaurant and you get this dishwasher guy that just got hired on, and your dishwasher is telling you like a tip for your food, you're most likely not going to listen to him. But in some cases, they might be, right? They might be giving you a tip because there's some things people learn and go through that, changes different situations. Makes it better.
yeah. Well, seeking reconciliation is like reestablishing like a friendly relationship with your.
Oh.
So like, reconnecting, talking to your dad again, even though you know that what he did to you was wrong, or he did something to you or whatever, putting that to the side for the moment and seeking that relationship again, so that you can then from there on out work it out.
Yeah.
Because you need that. You can't just like be incredibly always angry at him, or else it's never going to get worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Your mind will be clouded. You'll only want like revenge, and you'll never actually want to solve the problem. So it's really important that you,
Yeah, and if your dad is like negative, negative, negative. If you just keep putting out positive or not fighting back and everything, your dad's gonna eventually realize that what he's doing is wrong
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and have a change of heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 6. If you're a son wounded by dad, risk asking for your father's love. I mean, and then actually I'm gonna do number 7 and I'm gonna do that question too. And if you're a son wounded by dad, risk asking for your father's blessing. And why is this difficult for men to do? Obviously, just because it puts you in a really vulnerable spot.
Yeah, men don't like to be vulnerable.
Yeah, it puts you in a place where you're kind of at like almost like not really at the mercy, but like you kind of are
Yeah,
of your
it's
dad.
just asking for something. I mean, like a lot of guys have trouble asking for like sympathy or
Yeah,
money or just anything in life, pretty much.
yeah. And this one especially if you have a lot of emotions and stuff attached to it. With a bad like you might think like, how can this man who did like these things to me, just like even consider giving me his love or blessing if I just ask for it? It doesn't make any sense. You never know. And that's why it says risk asking.
It's like I saw some psychology thing somewhere. It's like when you're having an argument with someone and they're mad at you, you just ask them a question like, uh, "Are you okay?" Like
Mhm.
if you ask them like, "Are you okay?" They're gonna get very confused and stop like yelling at you because they're gonna be like, "What?" So it's like I mean, asking a question that someone doesn't ask, or sorry, asking a question that someone doesn't expect you to ask, it confuses them and
Yeah,
might change their mind about situations.
yeah, it could be. Some, but yeah, I mean, just like, and also just like it might sound crazy, but the dad might not know that he's doing something wrong. Um, uh, Oftentimes he probably will.
Yeah.
But so asking this and making sure that they know, like, that it just because you're asking this question, they know that you feel that that's gone. That they're like, they never provided that for you. Because if you're asking for love, then obviously it never came your way. Um, so that will put that into perspective for them, and they can see that. Like, okay, I haven't done this. I haven't truly loved them. I haven't given them my blessing. And so they'll see that and maybe recognize that and change it in their own lives.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a um, really just difficult thing to do. But
Mm-hmm.
I want to do number 8.
Yeah. If you're a son wounded by dad, redeem the relationship by becoming a good dad to your children or grandchildren. So it's just putting it down the line. Do what your dad couldn't do to your kids
Yeah,
and grandkids.
I mean this just goes for like just about everything. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, in life, we might not always get what we want or get what we feel like we deserve. Um, or in this case, I would say that any child deserves the love and blessing of his father. So
Yeah.
you don't get what you deserve here if you're wounded by him. Um, and
And you learn from all your experiences in life.
yeah, and from that you need to choose to take that and say, okay, I know what he did wrong, and I need to change this. And this happens even with good parents. Good parents. No one's really. Uh,
Like parents that are, respect their children.
yeah, that love their children and give their children a blessing. Um, what was I saying?
I have no
Like
idea.
this happens with every child and their parents. The child goes over as they grow up and experience life and whatever. They see where their parents, some of their parents' beliefs or whatever may have been flawed, um, and then they adapt and they change. And this happens with every child and parent relationship almost all the time. Um, and yeah, I mean it's just some kind of part of life.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, people might think everyone has to take this route, because if this was true in the beginning, you probably think like, oh, everyone thinks that they're gonna take the stuff from their father that was negative and remove it, and take the things that were positive from their father and keep it for their future kids and everything. But if that was true,
Then
like
there
the
wouldn't
people
be.
have thought of that forever, then that would mean like all parents would be perfect now,
Yeah.
which they're not.
So obviously, there's plenty of people who aren't letting their negative past change them into better people.
Yeah, because some people think that they were treated that way, so they have to treat their kids that way.
Um, and like, there's also like a big thing about like um, how like a lot of times it's believed that like Jesus and God only works in like healing, um, like of a wound like this, but it's also he works in like the pain part, like in like when you are wounded and when you feel this, when you feel all these emotions, like it's like what we said in the beginning, anger and pain, bottled up feelings, and like and a feeling of incompleteness. Um, God works in that too to change you and to um, potentially kind of shape and mold the person that you're going to be. Um, so yeah, never doubt when He can kind of work in your little whatever's going on.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
Um, I don't believe so.
Yeah, just another emphasis again on three possible responses to the father wound of what I just listed. It's really important to not bottle everything up and not um, let people know, or not let people know, but talk about it, get it out. Um, yeah, and that's how you kind of start your process of moving on, I'd
Yeah,
imagine.
and especially if you bottle up everything as you're, um, being taught and fathered by your dad, uh, you're gonna take that all out on your kids
Yeah,
in the future, whether you like it or not.
yeah, yeah. Because the people who are close to you are the people who feel the when you're in a relationship with people, like the person who's going to get it the worst is going to be like your spouse, your wife, or your husband, because they're obviously going to see you at your very best and they're going to see you at your very worst. Um, so they're going to take the brunt of uh, all like the kind of bottled up stuff that you have, and then your children, and then like your friends and your family and your coworkers and all that. So that's why it's so important to just not all that stuff.
Yeah.
So we have some
Exactly.
questions that you can go over in your small groups or just go over by yourself. You want to do the first one?
Yeah. Have you released dad and wait, what? Have you released dad?
Yes. Like, have you like released him from like your kind of like grudge?
Oh. Have you released dad and assumed responsibility for your own life? If you could sit down and bare your soul to your father, what would you say?
And the next question: which of 8 father wound remedies could you apply to your life right now, and explain why?
And the last question is, what do your children need from you right now, if you have any children? Are these things you are doing or not doing that may cause your children to be wounded later in life?
So these all will apply to your life in the questions of whether you're the victim or the perpetrator of this. Um, because, like I said before, we don't always know that you don't always know that you're the one perpetrating this. You can be kind of doing things just out of the like sinful nature of your heart and your own soul, because we are sinful. Um, and obviously we're no one's perfect, and we're not going to be able to take everything negative out of our lives. So a lot of times we'll subconsciously kind of wound people close to us without even knowing it. So that's why it's good to question yourself, ask yourself, what am I doing? How am I treating them? What am I saying? How am I acting around them? Am I putting up a good what's the example? Am I doing all that
Yeah.
to the best of my ability?
it's more than just this week. It's not a task that we're telling you guys to do. It's a task to do forever, not just for the week, for the future.
It's a practice.
Yeah, because every time you think, or every time you're about to say something or do something, just obviously think about it first, and then act.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what type of people you might hurt.
Oh, I gotta take a picture of this. Katie is doing some goofy position right now on the floor. No idea what's going on.
She's got her teeth out.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I mean that's all I think we've got for this.
Yeah.
Pretty, it's all pretty terrible stuff, but it is.
Mm-hmm.
It happens way too often.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is just take accountability. Um, Taking accountability in the fact that like you could be very easily doing this to your children, and taking accountability if you have been the perpetrator in the past, um, and taking accountability even if you're the victim and saying, okay, I'm not gonna take this and continue this sin. I'm gonna change it.
Yeah.
I think that's all.
You obviously can't choose your father. So, yeah. Yeah. You obviously can't choose your father, but make the best out of what you got if you're still living with him or if you're not living with him.
Yeah. Yeah, don't think that moving out is just a free out of trying to reconcile your relationship with your
Yeah, because
father.
that just keeps all the issues that you haven't solved with you
Yeah.
and back at home as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
Just learn from the negatives and positives that have come with your early life.
Yeah, just think about it this way. Like, I was listening to some this morning, and I'm talking about like anger and how like toxic it can be because anger is, and the way that Jesus taught about anger is he said to, when he was going over like, uh, in the Sermon on the Mount, when he was going over like, if you have like a discretion with somebody, the example he gave was like when you before you go to the altar and like make your sacrifice, which is what they did as a first century Jew. You like bring like your goat or whatever and you bring it to the altar in the temple in Jerusalem. Let's say like I think in the Bible he said that he traveled like 80 miles, this man in the example, to sacrifice his goat, and he remembered when he got there he said, oh wait, I still have to deal with, I'm still at odds with this person. So in Jesus' example, he traveled 80 miles back, left his goat at the temple, went and kind of hashed it out with that person. They solved their problem, their little angry dispute that they had. Um, he went all the way back to the temple, and that's something that's extreme. But it's because anger is such a toxic thing. Because Jesus is basically saying there, get it solved and get it out as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Talk to the person you're angry at, obviously in a loving way, putting their needs above yours. Talk to them, get that solved, because the longer that anger sits, the more deeply rooted it becomes, and the more it just infects your body, and it infects the way you are. And there's stages to it. There's like I forget. It was John Mark Comer, obviously.
Nice, obviously.
And yeah, he was talking about the stages, and it eventually just builds up and leaks to, like it leaks out of you as a person, like through your mouth, and even worse, it could turn into something abusive. Um, so yeah, it's best to get rid of anger as soon as possible, and also it gets harder to get rid of the more it roots itself. So you really that's why he says, I know I'm going on a rant here, but that's why he says, Jesus is like, talking about in the Old Testament it says, "Thou shalt not murder," but I tell you that you shouldn't even like hold a grudge or call your brother a fool, because it comes from the same heart posture, um, because it's just a different stage of anger. That's all it is. Uh, Letting it leak out of your mouth is just it's just a lower sub-stage of the greater picture of anger, and murdering someone is obviously on like the upper kind of stages.
Yeah.
So it comes from the same thing. And if you don't try to solve it when it's at one of those lower stages, it's going to be almost impossible to solve when it's up to the point where you're, um, taking out abuse and whatever and all that. So
Yeah.
big stuff, but yeah,
That's my analogy.
Yeah.
It's like Tetris, right?
Uh-huh.
When you start it, it's at the bottom.
Mhm.
It's easy to clear out rows at the bottom. But once you get to that top and you're about to lose, it's hard to fit pieces in those spots like that. You know?
That's a good analogy.
Yeah. Tetris.
And especially since another thing going on that Tetris is it speeds up.
Yeah.
So life's going
right.
to get harder, and it's, it's not like
You're not going to have time to fix your issues.
Yeah, it's not like we're not going to we're not going to talk about like a prosperity gospel thing where like, it gets better, tell that to Paul, who was like, brutally murdered, and all the apostles,
Yeah.
and Jesus, the Messiah, who was crucified. So it doesn't. Maybe it does. We'll go over that's something for a whole nother episode and topic. But, yeah, it's gonna get harder. So keep it down. That was a whole rant. We were going short on that.
Ben's
so
whole rant.
we needed a little bit of
a Ben rant up in this building.
Nice. All right. Yeah, I think that's all. You want to pray?
Yeah. Oh, wait, me?
I'll pray.
I think I did last time.
Okay, I'll pray. I'll
Okay.
pray. Don't look at my hair.
Oh my gosh.
Stop.
Guys, everyone open your eyes for a second. We're not praying yet. Can everyone check the camera real quick?
Nope.
Okay. All right.
All right. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity to talk about you, and to talk about this very important topic, Lord. I ask that it goes out and helps anyone who needs it, Lord, as it is a rampant issue in our current society and cultural moment. I ask that you continue to bless the people who are not only victims, but who are perpetrators of this, that you cause a change of heart and forgiveness and everything that you teach and desire for us to do, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Yeah. Updates before we go. We just posted a vlog.
Yes.
On Monday. I think. Monday? Yeah, Monday. Go check that out.
It was like,
it
was like Sunday or Saturday. I'm pretty sure you posted it.
It was Monday.
I remember watching it with Julia.
Did you?
Sunday or Saturday, yeah.
Like on public YouTube?
Pretty sure.
Okay. Then I posted it on Sunday. My bad. Oh yeah. I might have posted it on Sunday.
Yeah.
But yeah, go watch that. We moved to a new house. Don't watch the Book of Clarence. Don't watch that movie. It's blasphemy.
Heresy.
Anyways, comment what you're having for dinner tomorrow, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Guys, before you go.
Goodbye.
Ben.David has... Comment your favorite shape of eyebrow. What's your favorite eyebrow shape?
Yeah.
Okay.